Hello, Wayside friends. I've come outside this morning just in the breeze and the beauty of the morning to share a devotional thought with you from Psalm 40. This is a psalm of David, a liturgy of supplication, a petition, a prayer. And we're going to look at verses 1 through 5, and then we'll jump to the end of the psalm and look at verses 16 and 17. As David begins this psalm, it's a hymn of praise. He said, I waited patiently for you, Lord. And he calls to the Lord as Jehovah, as the relational God, because David had a personal relationship with God. God wasn't something distant in his life, but rather he walked with God, and he was a man after God's heart. And then he says, while I waited for you, Lord, you turned to me and you heard my cry. And those are good words for us today as we live in 2020 and we face these times of uncertainty. Some days might feel filled with chaos and confusion. Some days just might be filled with frustration and being tired of putting a mask on. But he says, that Lord, you turned to me and you heard my cry. You lifted me out of the pit. You put my feet on firm ground, on a firm foundation. And then I love in verse 3, he says, he put a new song in my mouth, a hymn of praise to our God. Many will see and fear the Lord and put their trust in him. Do I put my trust in God? In the midst of my circumstances, are my lips filled with that new song, that hymn of praise to God? Am I trusting in him? And he says, blessed is the one who trusts in the Lord. And I've found over these past weeks and months that I've had to just come back to the Lord and say, I trust you. You are sovereign. You are in control. There is nothing occurring around me, whether it's outside of my world, circumstances, health, relationships with people, with family, finances, job, employment. There's nothing that's outside of me. There's nothing inside. There's no health issue. There are no just that guilt and shame, but bringing that to the Lord on a daily basis and confessing my sin to him. And so am I trusting in him? And he says in verse 5, many, Lord my God, are the wonders you have done, the things you have planned for us. None can compare. They would be too many to declare. The Lord has done great things. He has planned. He has a plan. He has a purpose. We can trust in the Lord. This is David's hymn of praise, and often in David's psalms he starts with more of a lament and the sadness of his heart, but in this particular psalm he begins by praising the Lord and lifting up that new song in his mouth. And now we drop down to verses 16 and 17, and I certainly encourage you to look at the entire chapter of Psalm 40. But in 16 we see, but may all who seek you rejoice and be glad in you. May those who long for your saving help, your salvation, always say, the Lord is great. Would those words be on our lips, come from our tongue just easily? The Lord is great. I can trust him. He is he's a relational God. He is Jehovah. And then as David ends this prayer for deliverance, he acknowledges to the Lord, he humbles himself and he says, I am poor and needy. I need you, Lord. I need you. You are my help and my deliverer. You are my God. And those closing words of this chapter, I love as David cries out, he says, do not delay. Come, Lord, be my rock, be my deliverer, be that help that I need. Because I trust in you, the Lord is great. I trust in the Lord. I trust in Jehovah, my personal God. I hope those words help you wherever you find yourself today and bring encouragement to your heart.